You're listening to the Norfolk Currents podcast, the number one place for all the news, events, and culture in the 757. I'm your host, Paul Rice, and today we're joined by Tyler Donovan, one of Norfolk's most promising up-and-coming musical artists. Tyler, thanks for joining us. It's great to have you here on the show. I know I've seen you out and about making the rounds in local shows and the music scene a lot, and I think what's really interesting for those folks who maybe don't know you yet, I've seen you at kind of like indie rock shows, and I've seen you at hip hop shows and all over the place. Can you tell us about the music you make and what genre you fall into?
Yeah, primarily it's hip hop. I guess in the grand scheme it's like alternative hip hop, whatever that means. But anyway, genre is a whole other conversation. Yeah, I rap, and that's like my main thing. I also sing, songwriter, producer. I just like making music. That sounds so general, but it's the truth. I try not to limit what I make to some sort of genre, even though that sounds mad pretentious. I'm an artist. I don't do that. Nah, I rap, but I do love, different. Technically, rock was my introduction into rap. I was a big Linkin Park fan as a kid.
Oh, no way.
And yeah, so Mike Shinoda is one of my biggest influences, period.
So was it the Jay-Z collab that got you in the door?
But even before then, Reanimation.
Okay.
That project was super crazy. That was my introduction to people like Pharoah Monch and just super technical MCs that I never would have thought would be working with the Linkin Park. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I owe Mike Shinoda a lot. The Fort Minor record, the Fort Minor mixtape was Green Lantern. I always put him in my top 10 of most influential rapper producers, and people always look at me like I'm crazy, and I'm like, all right, when I get a Mike Shinoda beat at some point, hi Mike, how you doing? If I get a Mike Shinoda beat at some point, that's gonna be legendary. Cool. That's gonna be a major checkbox.
I gotta say, I didn't expect the Linkin Park inspiration to be so heavy. I know I've seen you do some covers of Childish and some other acts, and I think I've heard you talk about Odd Future and that collective. So how did you go from, Linkin Park, and what were the first hip hop or rap inspos that kind of got you further down that road?
Lupe Fiasco.
Okay.
Who's probably still my favorite rapper to this day, and that's because him and Shinoda worked. But I think I heard of Lupe through, I think it had to have been Kanye. It had to be Touch the Sky.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was super simple. I love when rap verses end and it goes right into the hook and it ties back in. Ludacris is really good at that. But when Lupe was let me end my verse right where the horns are, at 12, 13, I'm like, oh, this is the coolest thing ever, because it's he brought the horns back in.
Yeah.
This is before I understood music production and stuff. And then I just did a deep dive. I just got the internet in my room, so I went on a deep dive of just finding, okay, who is this Lupe Fiasco guy? And then Kick Push came out, and then I found all of his mixtapes, and he did a mixtape where he rapped over nothing but Gorillaz instrumentals, and I was obsessed with the Gorillaz. I played Demon Days almost every day for 2 years straight. So yeah, just finding out about Lupe and just hearing how lyrical he was and how technical he was, it was beautiful. And then that led to finding out about Tribe Called Quest and going into a deeper dive of Jay-Z and Souls of Mischief and Pharcyde and just that whole jazz rap, alternative rap type thing. That was always just my favorite. De La Soul, of course, was just my favorite. That was my favorite pocket, and I just got obsessed.
It's funny you mentioned mixtapes and I guess finding stuff on the internet. For me, some of that early 2010s was this golden era of the mixtape where there was iTunes and cell phones all over the place, but there's no Spotify or streaming yet.
Right.
And so I saw a lot of artists experimenting and putting out all their music for free. Yeah. And so that was the same era we got Tyler the Creator and Childish Gambino, Mac Miller, Chance.
Kendrick.
Yeah. And so was that something that you were really into, that kind of piff and download?
Oh yeah, the blog era. I was a heavy blog kid. I wrote for a blog for a little bit called Artistic Manifesto. Shout out to Mikkel. But yeah, I was on Two Dope Boys, Not Right. You heard that new Ruby Hornet. I was on all of them just because I wasn't, not that I was against what was on the radio or not that I had a problem with it, but it was at the point where radio had stopped being so regional and being open to different sounds, and it was okay, we found a sound that works, we're going to market this, let's just keep pumping that out, which is cool. I get it. It's an industry, it's a business. I get it. But I love innovation. I love originality. I want to know who you are. I don't want to know what you can sound like. And so the blog era really opened that up, where especially for local artists or Virginia artists or whatever, there were a lot of people that got on blogs that maybe wouldn't have gotten a look in any other capacity, and that jump started their career. So yeah, very, very grateful for that time, and I miss it. I miss it a lot because it forced you to dig. like now with Spotify and streaming, like it's a double-edged sword because like with streaming services you can dig and there's more access.
Yeah.
But 9 times out of 10 it's a convenience thing. You just find a playlist that you like, which can still be beneficial.
Right.
But I guess it just depends on how I consume music. Music isn't like background noise to me, and it's no problem if it is.
Yep.
Everyone listens to music differently, but for me, I really digest it. So like, I want to know like, who is this artist? Where did they come from? What are their influences? Oh, I hear Frank influence in here. Oh, I hear Radiohead influence in here. Like I hear these things, and that's what, as you can see, like that's like what gets me hype, and that's what makes me super excited. I can talk about that for days.
And so is that part of what inspired you to start creating music? You're, I guess, not hearing stuff you wanted to hear on the radio and other places and wanting to combine those different inspos for, you know, a new sound?
1,000%. Like that was, I just wanted to hear, you know, I'm a black kid from the suburbs in Northern Virginia, you know, pretty decent come up, you know, like no real major issues, but like I dealt with like internal stuff and mental stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, I also like just super technical rap, but I want to hear it over like a random sample that you wouldn't expect people to rap over. I just wanted to make what I wanted to hear.
So what was your first project and when did that come out?
First mixtape ever, my best friend is going to laugh. It was called The Declaration, and I released it when I graduated high school in 2009. What were some beats on there? I rapped over Good Morning by Kanye. I rapped over, what else was on there? I think I did, no, The Tribe Called Quest was the next one. 93 Till Infinity by Souls of Mischief. It was a very hip-hop backpack.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those. And then I think there was I can't remember, it was so long ago. But yeah, The Declaration. And then we did 2 more of those. For whatever reason.
So Declaration 1, 2, 3?
Yes, Declaration 2 was called A Versatile Child of Words. I thought that was super clever because it was like a reverse rhyme. And then Declaration 3 was like a group project with like me and my friends. The project was called High Resolutions. The group was called Vivid Animation. Much love. I love you guys because I know one of y'all are watching.
So Vivid Animation then, was that your first kind of artist group, like name you worked under? And
yeah.
Tell me more about that. How did that come about?
I definitely thought that I was Tyler and that was my Odd Future. Before, like, granted, Odd Future wasn't a thing yet, but it was the same kind of like idea where I was just like, I see all of my friends, they're talented, they can rap, they can sing. I was just really getting into production. So I was like, hey, I'll make beats for you guys, or hey, I'll record you guys. Let's put a project together. Like I was trying to round up the troops because when you do something that you love, you want your friends.
Yeah.
You know, and these are the guys I was always hanging out with. We were always having rap debates and stuff, and then we would just have random freestyle sessions where we would go for like 2 hours, 3 hours nonstop. And yeah, it was just like, I already have a mic. I can mix technically.
Yeah.
Let's just try some stuff. And some of the stuff was good, some of the stuff wasn't, but that's how it goes. And luckily some of the guys that were in that group are still making music, which is awesome. Shout out to King Coltrane, I love you, bro. Shout out to Saj, I love you. So it's cool that, you know, those guys are still creative, whether it's like for a career or not, like they're just still creative. And I think those early moments, not saying that like it was the catalyst of it, but those are stuff that we can look back on and be like, oh wow, it really started back here. It wasn't like just because we were trying to get a bag real quick. And
so did working in a group like that really help you to hone a creative process that you are carrying forward, you know, I guess 10 years later?
Yes and no. I think the one thing I do miss was just the collaboration of it. After, like, they went to school in, like, West Virginia, I came down to ODU. After that, I kind of just got really secluded where I just did everything myself. I would produce myself, I would mix myself. A couple of times I would work with, like, other people, like my boy Cam Murdoch and stuff like that. But it became a real personal thing for me. And so that's a gift and a curse because you can work at your own pace. And that's kind of like with the project that I'm about to release, like it kind of documents, like it kind of helped me go through all of like my mental stuff, and I had like an outlet for it. But now at this present moment, like I'm super excited to get out and start collaborating with people again and kind of being in that open space again because I miss it, and that's what like refuels me. So
that's awesome.
So it double-edged sword. Like I took some things from it, and then other things I'm like, okay, this era is done.
Yeah.
Let's have some friends and work with friends now. So.
When you talk about eras, I know you've kind of gone through, I guess, some name changes as far as like your stage name.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about some of that?
Absolutely. So my first rap name was Righteous because my last name is Wright, W-R-I-G-H-T. So we just added E-O-U-S to the end of it. Watched Finding Nemo one day, the little clip of Righteous.
Oh, nice.
And my best friend was like, hey, that should be your rap name, as a joke. Little did he know, 2 weeks later, I sent him a freestyle over Lupe's Dumb It Down, and the artist name was Righteous. So I was like, haha, Jeff, take that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was Righteous, and then I was Tyler Righteous because I felt Righteous was a little too generic. I was kind of getting pigeonholed into the Christian rapper lane, and this is like 2010, 2011. I was like mad insecure about my faith, and I was like, oh, whatever, I don't want to be Lecrae, whatever. So I was trying to like branch away from that, and then I still don't know why I did this, but I changed my name to Donovan, but I put a dot on the front and the end of it because I saw Anderson .Paak do it, and it looked really cool. And then I was like, this is dumb. And so then I ended on Tyler Donovan, which is my first and middle name. It's what my dad used to call me when I would get in trouble. And I don't know why. It just sounds complete, and it's personal. A lot of my music is very authentic, so it just made sense.
That's awesome. I think that's something I really appreciate about seeing your music and listening to some of the things that are older to now is like seeing some of this creative evolution and like iterating through those different parts. As you've kind of iterated through, have you been trying to, do you think, I think obviously you want to tell a story or have some message there. For you, has this been kind of one message that you've been trying to iterate through, or have you felt like you've had different things to say and different messages over your career?
Well, before I changed my name to Tyler Donovan, I was really just trying to prove I was the best rapper. I was just kind of like, I was never like just rapping to rap, but like I was going extra hard on like different flow patterns and trying to say the most clever thing and trying to, I wanted the best compliment is, whether it's a musician or rapper, whatever, is just getting that scrunch face when someone says something like crazy. Like anytime I listen to Nicholas F., like my face just scrunches up immediately. And so I wanted that effect. And so that was my primary thing, was just like I just wanted to be the best rapper. And
sometimes you have to do that to hone your skills, right? To push it and do it as hard as you can.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like it's still hip hop, and there is still that bravado, there is still that confidence thing that is there. Like that's never gonna go away. And I think it goes back to influences. Like when I started really listening to Kendrick, I think I had to give Kendrick that nod. Is just like Kendrick and J. Cole, where they were head and shoulders above damn near everybody. Yeah. But like they were conscious enough to be like, okay, I know my skills and my talent are going to get me to a position where I'm going to have a certain level of influence. What do I want to say with that influence? And I think the first song that really kind of lined up with that I made was a song called Assembly, and that was about the time where I changed my name. So this was like 2019. This was after the surgery. I was on bed rest and just feeling really discouraged, honestly, and just because like this is a life-altering thing. Yeah. But it was the first song that I wrote with the intention of like, okay, if 15-year-old me heard this, would they get something from this, or would it just be, okay, this is another cool rap song? And when I listened back to it, I was like, oh, okay, we gotta pivot a little bit. And then that's when I was like, okay, I'm Tyler Donovan. This is what I'm doing. I'm here to encourage, like, because I'm still here. Yeah. So it's like, might as well make the most of it.
What do you think when you talk about a message for a 15-year-old you? Did you have a particular message in mind, or multiple messages?
Well, in that particular song in general, it was just to encourage. Like that's why I said like go be the hero you needed the most, because I wish I heard that when I was 15. I had great influences when I was 15, but it still wasn't cool as far as like to like encourage or inspire people, you know what I mean? So I really just took it as, I remembered like those high school assemblies that no one ever paid attention to, but like when they would have a guest speaker come in, I always wanted to be that guest speaker, but I didn't want to, at the same time, like I didn't want to do like any sort of like pandering or try to like, be super preachy or super corny or anything. I was just going to tell you how it is. Like I was just like, hey, life is tough. but it's not by coincidence that you're here. It's not by happenstance that you're here. It's for purpose, and it's your responsibility to figure out what that purpose is. And all I want to do is encourage and kind of be your cheerleader on the side to just be like, hey, like, go, like, find what it is you're supposed to do. Because I know, because it's hard. Like, I'm 31. I'm 32 in August. And for a long time, I put that to the side as far as, like, purpose, because I was trying to, I was worried about outside perception. I wanted to make my friends happy, wanted to make my family happy, wanted to make the community happy, wanted to make my girl at the time happy. But I was so, like, obsessed with that. This is very long-winded, I'm sorry. But, like, that became more important than what I know I'm here to do. Like, I know I'm here to do this.
Right.
Like, after 2018, if I wasn't supposed to do this, I wouldn't be doing this anymore. But I just had the burden, like, no, I have to make music. As silly as that can sound, depending on how you grew up and stuff, like, this is what I'm here to do. And so I just want to be an example that it's never too late. You're never too old. Like, it doesn't matter what your circumstances are. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what your age is. And I'm nowhere near where I want to be, and I'm nowhere near where I'm going. But I just want to kind of plant that anchor of encouragement now, so that way when it's 3 years from now, 5 years from now, and, like, we're selling at the Norva and we do the Scope and we do the amphitheater, because, like, that's happening. Mm-hmm. That's gonna happen. It can pivot back to, oh no, this encouragement has been the whole time. So that's the message now. It's just, I call it following the cloud. Basically just means following your purpose. I have, like, a brand that I'm working on called Ninth Nimbus, just a cool way of saying Cloud 9. I just like alliteration.
Yeah.
But that's what the whole message behind, like, following the cloud, and I say the cloud is moving because it's on us. Because, like, the purpose is going to happen regardless. Like, your purpose doesn't change. So the cloud is going to move regardless. It's up to you whether you decide to follow it or not. So.
I know you mentioned projects getting closer to your goal, ideal there. You have the new project coming out in August, is that right?
Yeah.
And is that, do you think, going to, I guess, move you closer? Or is that something you feel is, moving you along that, storyline of getting closer to Cloud 9?
Yeah, I think this project, so the project's called Gasping for Air, and it's an origin story for me. I've wrestled with it because I've worked on it for so long. I've worked on it since I moved back down to the 7.5 in 2017. So I've been working on this for almost 6 years.
Wow.
And going through different variations of it, releasing certain parts of it, which are basically demos at that point, and then getting to where it is now. Yeah, I think if anything else, this project will just, like I said, it'll just establish, like, okay, this is who Tyler Donovan is. This is where he's been the last 6-7 years. And then we can get experimental and go crazy and do all of the fun stuff that I want to do and that I'm itching to do and that I could have done. Like, I've tried to do, like, different side projects where it was a little bit more digestible, mm-hmm. Or just more fun, or just to kind of get more attention, to get more eyes on it, with the intent to be like, okay, now that I have all of these eyes, here's the real project. But there was something that was just saying, no, this is what you need to do this project first. Yeah. And I think whether it does well or not, I know for me personally, as far as, like, personal development goes, it's gonna be a game changer because, we don't cover everything, but a lot of skeletons come out, and it's just really sobering and it's freeing, and it's just confirmation that this is what I'm supposed to do, because after, like with the surgery and stuff like that, I really didn't think I was going to keep making music, or at least releasing music. I could have made music, but, like, I didn't think I was going to keep releasing music. And it's just been beautiful to see, like, how, like, the rise has just kind of been happening. When you're in it, you don't really recognize it, but I'm doing better at trying to, like, take a step back and be like, wow, like, this is really about to happen. And I think Gasping for Air is going to be, like, a real, like, planting of the flag. So.
And so the name Gasping for Air, I noticed that you've used the kind of breath and breathing motif in some other works or on social. Is that something that is a through line for you, or what is that attachment to breath? It
came from my physical therapist when I was still in the hospital recovering, because after the surgery I had to stay for like a month, and when I would be doing like physical therapy and stuff, like literally learning how to walk again, my physical therapist, I think she was either just tired of me complaining about how much it hurt, because it hurt, but she was just like, look, if you have breath in your lungs, like, It's for a purpose. And then I remembered that my pastor had said that a couple of times in sermons too. And so it just kind of kept coming up. And then it was funny because it was full circle, because back in my righteous days, in like 2015, 2016, I was going to put out a project called My Righteous Path, which was a reference to an NERD lyric from Fly or Die. The full lyric is, gasping for air makes the righteous path harder to choose.
Oh, no way, yeah.
Which is just, I could just drop the mic and just go home. But that like literally sums up the project, because when you get to the end of it, it covers a lot of like topics like mental health, anxiety, depression. Self-sabotage is like really like the anchor of it. And I've never been one to point fingers as far as like stuff that I've gone through. It's always been me, and me in my head and stuff. And so it was just really cool for that full circle thing to happen, where it's like it's like that's still that 2012 kid is still here, but now it's 2023. Yeah, it's just really cool. But yeah, the breath thing, it came from my physical therapist, and then I was just like, well, let's just keep this going. And the simple message of don't forget to breathe is super impactful. Like whether you're going through like a high stress situation and you need a second to just chill out, or if you're on the mountaintop and you just want to take a second to breathe and take in the moment. So it's a pretty heavy thing. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited. It's weird talking about it. Like I've done like different interviews and like I've kind of like hinted to it, but it's kind of freeing just to be like, wow, like we're really about to put this out, and like it feels good. I'm excited.
That's awesome. And so, you know, I'm really excited to hear this project personally, especially I think those topics, mental health and all, are, you know, very pertinent right now. I think a lot of people are struggling, as we've seen some of those numbers, going up. But it's really interesting you mentioned the self-sabotage specifically, because I feel like that's not a topic I hear as much about in the, mental health, content on the internet. But it's something that's, been around forever. I think about, there's the classic tattoo of like the knife in the hand, kind of this self-sabotage thing that's been around since probably the 40s or 50s. So, how can you help us like unpack like some of what self-sabotage means to you, or have you like overcome that? Is that
definitely haven't overcome it? I don't know if it's something, and I can only speak for me, but I don't know if it's something that you ever overcome, but I do think it's something that you can be aware of and have control of. And what I'm doing now is just trying to just have a better grasp on where I am in the moment, because 9 times out of 10 the self-sabotage comes, at least for me, from anxiety about what's to come and depression about what's already happened. So when you mix all that together, it's lethal. Like, it really is. And it's like, why am I even doing this? There's no point. Screw it. I'm just going to go and do whatever. But it talks you out of so many blessings and opportunities. And that's another reason why it's kind of like confirmation that this is what I'm supposed to do. I've gotten to a point where I felt like I've thrown this music thing to the side, because I didn't think I was making any traction. I didn't think, that I was really gonna reach where I wanted to reach, or where I felt I was going to reach, and then something would happen. Like it would be like, oh, we got something in the water, or like, whatever, like what songs on the radio, like it's as recent as now, where it's like, even this past weekend, like I had a really rough weekend mentally, and like I've been clinically depressed and anxious. I've been anxious forever, but clinically depressed since like 2011. I've been on and off medication, 3 different therapists, on watch at school, the whole thing, and that still is pertinent now. But I think I have a better grasp on it. It's one of those things where when it hits, it's like, okay, I have people I can talk to. I have great friends that I can talk to. My prayer life is better, which is always a good thing. And I just, I'm working on just trying to make myself better, because I didn't think I was going to see 30. I didn't want, there was a big part of me that didn't want to see 30, and now like I'm excited for 35 and 40 and but even then that self-sabotage is still there, because it's like, oh well, what's the point? Like there's a voice in my head. I'm just being very transparent. There's a voice in my head that's like, where you're at musically now at 31, you should have been there at like 23. 24. If this is always what you wanted to do, if this is always what you've loved, but it was like
everyone's got their own path, right?
Everyone has their own path. Everyone has their own cloud to follow, and don't think that if you're following your cloud that there aren't going to be storms.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like just embracing that.
Yeah. So you mentioned leaning on friends and family and folks. Do you have other musicians that you are talking with regularly and more so than just see at shows, but, are, collaborating with and just, talking about those kind of struggles?
Absolutely. I think I'm so grateful to the music community in general in the 7-5 because I'm not from here. I'm from Northern Virginia, and they just kind of they've just really embraced me, and it's really cool. Like I said, I haven't really collaborated much, but there are just conversations I've had with people. Like first person that comes to mind is Fake Azumi, who I love so much. Heal up, brother. Azumi, Gabe Niles, Sunny Moonshine. There's a whole bunch. Coco Mamba, my boy Rye Whitmore, Cam Murdoch. All of these guys, even artists who I may not know super personally, but artists like Al Doms and Jesse Boone, who I've known in passing for a while.
Yeah.
And it's been so inspiring and super dope just seeing their growth and their rise, and I'm so excited to see where they go because they're so damn talented and they're just cool people. But we've had conversations that was just very encouraging, and I'm usually the encourager. You can ask anybody. If you see me somewhere and if you've done something cool and I haven't seen you yet, I'm going to let you know, hey, what you did is dope as shit. I want to make sure everybody has their flowers. But it's really dope, once the flowers are exchanged,
right,
and, we can have that conversation of, oh, what was, the journey to get here?
Yep.
And then it's bro, you made it through this, and that's the common theme whenever I'm out and someone recognizes me, which is weird to say, but someone recognizes me, or just the artist homies, getting back to it. There's still a whole list, bro. I'm just very grateful. I'm grateful that people see it. I'm grateful that people see the work. I'm grateful that people see the effort and they embrace it. It really does mean a lot, and it's saved my life countless times. And Raisa, I can't forget Raisa. Raisa of Utopia Fenny. She doesn't get her credit. I don't think she gets her credit. She provided a safe haven for artists, no matter who you are.
Yeah.
To come and perform and share your work, and that's where a lot of those relationships, even if they didn't start for me, that's where a lot of those relationships got stronger, because I've had countless talks, either outside or inside of Utopia, that has really helped me keep going with my journey. So definitely had to say thank you, Raisa. I love you.
That's awesome. I think the local music community has been growing a lot, and it's been incredible to see kind of something in the water layered on top of that, where we can have a lot of folks celebrated and showcased to a global stage. Do you think there's anything that the local music community is maybe missing or is kind of yet to figure out?
I want to answer that, but I don't know if I'm the right person to answer that, and I'll explain why.
Sure.
That's a conversation that comes up a lot, as far as what the music scene needs and this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
And I know it's from a genuine place, but 9 times out of 10, when artists complain or whatever, and they talk about, oh, this is what the scene needs, it's not what the scene needs, it's just what they need.
Yeah.
But I would love to see more venues. I would love to see just more opportunities for artists to perform, and I'm super grateful for the ones that we have, and especially of course Smart Mouse being at the helm of that, and super excited to perform at NFK Day. But it can't just, with all due respect, it can't just be breweries or bars, and again super grateful because those people are at least allowing us to come and do what it is that we need to do. But as we've seen, Norfolk is nah, we're not rocking with that, and a lot of that's being shut down. But it's I would just love, I miss Charlie's American Cafe. I miss spots where there was a dedicated space to perform, and we still have Chichos, we have assemblies, we have these places. I would just love to see more. But again, that's pivoted to what I want, because I love performing. I would perform every week if I could, But as far as we need like more, I don't know, like we could always use more studios. We could always use, I don't know.
Well, the venue thing I think is interesting. I've heard that a lot in, again, different contexts where there's, some level of different size venues, from the super small venues you can get less than 100 people into, to then, something like the Norvo or Scope, or even now something in the Water as getting 100,000 people in front of it. What size venues do you think like are missing in the space?
I think of like the first example I think of is like if you look at like somewhere like Richmond, like the Camel, and I think the Camel cap is like 150 to 200. I could be completely wrong, but like somewhere in that area of like 150 to 300, because I think it would be really cool. I think it would give artists more confidence to throw their own shows, and I think that's the age where we're in now, where like take the initiative, throw your own stuff. That's why like places like Slow Dive Gallery was so special, and Work Release was so special because like those, like there would be shows there all the time. At least it felt like it. And now we have like places like Thank You Gallery and things of that nature. So it's cool. Like it's there. I would love to just see it blossom. But I think just more like 100 to 200 or 150 to 300 cap rooms I think would be super beneficial, because it just allows more opportunities for people to share their art and more opportunities for people to receive it and actually enjoy it.
So you mentioned, venues in Richmond. I know you've done a fair amount of shows here locally. Have you been able to get on the road some and do shows in other parts of the state or the country? Yeah, no, I've
played Richmond countless times to the point that people think I'm from there. Yeah, I haven't played Richmond in a while. Well, I did. I did a one-off with my boy Smith. Are you familiar with Smith?
I don't think so, no.
Super, 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 super talented kid out of Richmond. He's part of a collective called Kids at Play. He's on, not just a cheap plug, he's on my album, but he just dropped an album called Paperface, which is, I still haven't digested it all the way. I've listened to it countless times. It's a lot. There's a lot in there, but he's super talented, and we did a show. I've known him for years, and we met through like the Richmond music scene, through events like Flag on the Moon or RVA Rap Elite, Hey Radio. And it's just it's super cool, like just seeing how he's grown. I love Richmond as a whole. Like my favorite rapper Nicholas F is from there. Yeah, acts like Butcher Brown, like Michael Millions. Like there's so much in that city that I love. So I've performed. I've played in Richmond a while, since like 2012. I've done shows in Richmond like on and off. I've done a few shows in D.C., played DC 9 opening for IDK a long time ago. We did Union Stage in D.C., we did a So Far Sounds gig in D.C. I haven't performed outside of the state. I really want to, and I think like once Gasping for Air's out and it kind of starts reaching out, like I definitely want to hit like North Carolina. I want to get to Maryland. Baltimore is like a very high streaming city, surprisingly. I don't know anybody in Baltimore, so whoever's playing my stuff out there, thank you.
That's awesome.
And I will see you soon. But I'm excited to travel. My mom was a touring musician in the Air Force, so she got to go all over, and I get to hear all her tour stories. I'm like, I want to tour. I want to go places. So I'm hoping to do some shows. More shows in Virginia, of course, but definitely looking to start to branch out.
Yeah. I mean, talking about your upcoming album come out and then all the, potential shows on the back end, I think that takes a lot of marketing and just something that some artists are great at and some artists aren't. But I know you have been kind of in that content creation game for a bit. Can you tell me like how you're thinking about content creation as you go into a big, hype cycle?
Honestly, just trying to find something. My thing is, the challenge now is consistency. I can throw a clip together and edit stuff. Like people are always like, "Oh, your social media stuff is so fine," and I'm just like, I appreciate it. I'm just throwing stuff at a wall and seeing what sticks. With the album and like the content that we're creating now, there will be obviously more of a story and more of a continuity thing. But I got to get the word out, and unfortunately.
So are you doing all parts yourself? You're editing it, you're filming stuff?
Up to this point, yes. I'm very grateful to have my guy Bryson of Point Break Productions on my team to help out with like filming stuff and like providing ideas. He shot the video for Crescendo. It was a concept I had for a while, but we're still in kind of like that early stages of like working together, so it's really exciting just to like start bouncing ideas off of each other and seeing, because you know, you gotta make these people care, and with new apps added every day, and just there's infinite content being thrown at you every minute.
Yeah.
You have to do something that is going to catch people's attention, provide some sort of value, and make them interested. And it's a challenging thing. Like, it's not easy to do. And I completely empathize with the artists that are just like, yo, I just want to make my music. Like, I don't want to, but it's like, this is just, if you want this to be your career, it's a business. And so you can have the most epic product in the world, but if you don't know how to translate that product to your audience, then you're not going to have an audience.
Yeah, all great things come with a cost, right?
Everything.
It's always got to do your chores, no matter what it is.
It's a pain. I love it. Like, it's fun, and I love editing content, and I want to do it for more artists. And I think once I'm kind of in a space where I can do that, I'll take that on, because I do want to help out. But it's a lot. And it can be draining. And then it's like, okay, I just finished editing these 5 posts. Now I have to go and record, and I'm like, but I'm tired.
Yeah.
But you know, you gotta keep going. The cloud continues to move, so gotta keep following it.
So, what's the next show that's on your plate then? What's the kind of next up on the agenda?
So we have, I don't know when this comes out, but we have Thank You Gallery on the 15th in Virginia Beach with the Smooth Cat of the Ninth Life, and then Donavan and Dom the Destroyer. So that's going to be a super hip hop kind of show. And then we have NFK Day at Smart Mouse on the 22nd, which I'm super excited about.
Yeah, we're excited to kind of be at the same event as you for this one, or we'll be out there with merch and kind of helping promo the NFK Day and everything Norfolk related. So yeah, stoked to have you as, like, you know, one of the big headliners there.
It's cool, man, and I think it's also cool because I'm pretty sure I'm the only rapper, which is really dope. I like those. I like those environments, like being, you know, because I like diverse shows, diverse crowds. Yeah. And so I'm excited to, you know, I look at it not an away game, but like I look at it as like a challenge, because it's like, okay, I can do the rap shows. I can win rap people over. That's no problem. But even then, every rap crowd is different. I mean, I say that because I've only performed in Virginia. I go to New York. They're like, yo, what you doing? Get out of here. Like, I don't know I don't know what's gonna happen. Hopefully they don't bunny rabbit me. But
and this is your first time playing at Smart Mouth?
No, I've done Smart Mouse this is my first time doing something directly with Smart Mouse. I've performed, shout out to Marv P, I've done the Gems Showcase at Smart Mouse,
which is really special, by the way, what they're doing there.
I have the utmost respect for Marv P. I think I've said it before, and I'll say it publicly again. I think he's the most well-rounded hip-hop artist that we have in the 757, and I don't think it's close. I think when it comes to quality of music, when it comes to stage presence, when it comes to merchandise, when it comes to creating events and creating opportunities for other artists, when it comes to giving back for the community, the man does a back to school drive every year, and he does like a Thanksgiving drive, like giving out food to the home to those who need it. They do a community kitchen thing. Like, wow. It's an amazing thing, and I've gotten to know Marv. He gave me the privilege to open for him on his birthday not too long ago at Smart Mouth, and I just have a lot of respect for him, and he's very wise. He has a lot of game that he gives to people, and willing, and like openly, like he's freely, like he doesn't gatekeep the information, because like he wants to see, he really loves here. He could have been dipped. He could have dipped to New York or LA or whatever, but
I could definitely see that community focus coming through in the events he does, because a lot of them are kind of like an open mic style.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't even think about Puffin Mike too. Like he's like the blueprint, and like when like artists, I don't want to keep saying complain, but when artists feel like they don't have opportunities, or when artists feel like they've hit a ceiling here, but they haven't done the same amount of work or have the same impact that Marv has, it's kind of like, hey, look at this, like there's more for you to do. So shout out to Marv, man, because he's really leading the way as far as like someone who can be a successful artist and still be here. I don't blame anybody for leaving and going to the bigger markets. I've thought about it. Just New York is too busy for me. I can't walk a lot of places for a long time, and LA, I will not deal with that traffic. So I'll travel when I need to, but this is home base. And so to see an artist who is actually from here, born and raised here, and
I'm hopeful that with the infrastructure that Pusha T and Pharrell are building here, that more and more artists can stay here and not jump to the bigger markets. Is that something you're seeing?
I mean, it's yes and no. And the only reason that I say no is because Pharrell said it at Mighty Dream. It shouldn't be the growth of the community and the growth of the 7-5 as far as like arts and music and everything like that. It shouldn't rely on them. Super grateful for what Pharrell's done. Super grateful for what Push is doing, especially like with Airwave and collabing with more artists from the area, whether it's an Outdoms, Kai Infinite, whoever. But at the end of the day, it's not their job. It's not their responsibility. They've made it their responsibility. But if we don't share that same thing, then it kind of goes by the wayside. A lot of people say that they want to put Virginia on, but the only reason that they want to put Virginia on is if they're at the forefront, if they're carrying the flag. Yeah. And it's like, that's not going to get anything done.
Right.
So
you got to give before you get, right?
You got to give before you get 1,000%. And I think we're seeing that. I think again, just seeing like what Marv has done, I promise, I just keep, because he's the example. And it's like, you literally can do all of this, and where he's built up an audience where if we had those 150 to 200 cap rooms, Marv P could announce a show today and it would sell out easily. So yeah, I think on a macro scale, like what Push and Pharrell is doing is incredible, and more power to them, and may they continue to give back. But on a micro level, and I only say micro because it's a smaller scale, on a smaller scale to see like what Marv is doing. And there are other artists as well, like shout out to Gabe and Social Supply and everything that they're doing, and just providing more opportunities for artists. I think the more that we do that, and if we can cross over and build that sort of network, then I think it'll be a scary time for the rest of people, because Virginia's coming.
That's awesome. I love to hear it. Something we're always about is trying to boost everybody local and make sure we're looking formidable.
Absolutely. And thank you for you guys in particular. I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to make sure that this is on record, because what you guys are doing is super important. I said it off air, but just like, even if something is just like being able to go through and scroll through my stories and seeing like, oh, there's something going on tonight. Oh, like, it shows how thriving Norfolk can be. And I think the more that we build our artists up and artists start doing their own shows and stuff and their own events and stuff, and just even that, like, just being able to see like, wow, there's always something going on no matter what day it is, that shows that's the pulse. It's not just a super big event. Something in the Water is great. Mighty Dream is great. But it's like, what's going on in like the middle of October in between stuff? Oh, okay. I can go to NFK, and it's like, oh, sweet, there's something to do. So I wanted to just say thank you as well, because like that's a really important and a really pivotal part in this whole renaissance that we're in the middle of.
Well, I really appreciate that. I think from my perspective, we can always be doing better. And so a lot of my mindset these days is like, what else can we be doing? And I think trying to do more deep dives with artists like yourself from the area and be able to have them tell their stories and showcase, some of what they're thinking, I think is a big part of that too, is, how much can we keep platforming more folks and, show the best of what we got around town. And so, for those folks who are, tuning in and ready and stoked about your story, do you guys have a date for the album drop, and can we plug it?
Oh, man, here we go. Okay, so Gasping for Air will be released as a double EP. Act 1, Inhale, which is the re-release of the 2020 EP, will release on my birthday, August 31st, with 2 new songs, including Crescendo, which is out now. And then Act 2, Exhale, will release mid-November, early December. Oh, but Tyler, I don't want to wait to hear Exhale. I heard Inhale already. Is there a way I can hear it? As a matter of fact, you can. As a way of saying happy birthday to me, yes, Act 1 and Act 2 will be available for purchase at tylerdonovan.com. So if you want to hear the music early, if you want to hear Exhale early, which is really powerful, impactful, reflective stuff, if you're like a fan of like Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, if you're a fan of A Few Good Things by Saba or Care For Me by Saba, it gets really personal. It just shows the duality. Inhale is like the breathing in, being present, enjoying life. Exhale is, getting stuff out of your system, reflecting, the growing pains, all that stuff, then you'll want to tap in. So again, August 31st, Act 1 will be available on streaming. Act 2 will be available on streaming either November or December. But if you don't want to wait and you want to hear the whole project in full, then you can purchase it on August 31st at tylerdonovan.com.
That's awesome. And we'll see you at Norfolk Day at Smart Mouth. Was the 22nd?
Yes, the 22nd, July 22nd, Smart Mouth. I go on at 5 o'clock, I believe. So be there, pull up. It's going to be a great time. Again, thank you, Smart Mouth. Thank you, NFK. And I'll probably play some stuff off of the project, probably premiere some stuff. So super excited to share it. And yeah, the cloud is still moving. So gotta follow that mug.
Stoked, man. Well, I appreciate being here, and I'll see you at NFK Day next week.
Sir, thank you, man.
Cool.
I appreciate you.
See you, man.